and welcome to Radio Vision Network. I'm Carol Moore, and we're here today with Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar. And at the beginning of this interactive television show, we always have to open our club with a gavel. And that means the Ben Franklin Stamp Club is open and ready for action. Now, this is an interactive stamp club, and so if you send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, I will send you this page. It looks blank and empty now, but you send it to work with your mom and dad, and then when you have your stamps, you can fill it in with stamps just like this page. This page is from my foods section of my stamp collection, because today we're talking about food. And I can send you all the stamps you want absolutely free just by sending me a self-addressed stamped envelope, and just send it to Whitebriar Stamp Club and Cooper Street in Edgewater Park, and it will get to me and I will send it back to you. Today we're talking about the food corn, since this is the time of year that we are harvesting our corn. All summer long we've been eating corn on the cob, fresh from the garden or from the road stand. In this case, our corn this morning came from my famous road stand that I always talk about, Varzaki's Farm, which is right at the end of Green Street, down the corner from my house in Edgewater Park. And I actually went this morning and had to borrow these ears of corn because they weren't open yet. And so I left my business card. So I'll go back and give them their corns when they're over. But you'll see the corn now is not what you would be eating. This is not corn that you're going to be eating now. It's hard. It's at the end of the season. And the stamp that the government, Postal Authority, made for the for corn on the cob to be honored. And so we have a picture of that corn on the cob stamp, which is very much honored. Corn was used by many cultures. It's actually a grain, and the Spanish and the French and the Italian, they call it maize, M-A-I-Z-E. Now, maize is another word that I learned about corn when I was growing up, and the corn that we called maize was going to be harvested when it was brick hard like this, okay? This is not what I ate during the summertime. This is all old corn that has had a full growing season to get hard like this. And that's what we said, the tractor would come along and harvest that corn. When I was a little girl, we had big fields of corn. And the big fields of corn, you would see an area between every row. There you can see it on your screen now. And when there's enough room to walk between the corn, then you know it is sweet corn, which is the corn that we would eat all summer long by boiling it up, boiling the pot of water, and then going down, running down the field and ripping off some of the corn and bringing it back and cooking it, and it's very delicious that way. There are three types of corn. One is white corn, which is usually an early corn that's usually ready shortly after 4th of July. Some of the farmers have a contest to see who can get their corn ready for the 4th of July picnics. And some years, if we have a cold spring, the corn doesn't cooperate, but some years it does. Then there's also the yellow corn, which is the sweet corn, which we buy as corn on the cob and we enjoy all summer long. And then the following is the horse corn, and that's what we have today. We have the hard horse corn because it is fed to animals all winter long. And one of my jobs as a little girl, when the corn got this dry and hard, my job was to sit and watch TV and hear the kernels, see them falling off. I can do this really quick. And we would have great big boxes of corn, and all winter long, when there's no grass for the animals to eat, they at least had corn on the cob, dried corn on the cob. So many other cultures of the world use corn in many ways. They use the corn, they grind it up and make cornmeal or corn flour. That's often used in many of the Spanish cultures. But originally the name was a German name, and it came from the word K-U-R-N-A-N, Kernam. Now, of course, we call it kernels of corn, which went back to that German word. And it is a grain, and we here in America use it more as a vegetable. When you go to a restaurant and they say you have two choices of vegetables, you order your mashed potatoes and you order your corn. And there's another way of serving corn, which is creamed corn. And that is just the corn is taken off of the cob when it is fresh and green, and it actually makes a milky substance that we add to it to make it creamed corn. And it's excellent for babies and for older people that don't have the teeth to eat corn on the cob. And so that's it for our corn segment here on Ben Franklin Stamp Club. Ben Franklin Stamp Club is closed for this moment, and we will open again in just a little bit here at Radio Vision Network when we have our food segment, and we are talking about corn here in our food segment. Be right back.
Today's show is sponsored by Hargrove Demolition, your demolition experts. Hargrove is a family-owned and operated business right here in the southern New Jersey area, bringing you 45 years of demolition expertise. Hargrove has all your demolition needs, from emergency demolition service to demolition equipment rental. Hargrove is one of the state-approved recycling facilities right here in the southern New Jersey area. No job is too big or too small for Hargrove Demolition. Contact them today at one of their 3 locations.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When we make Beyond Natural dry dog and cat foods, we start with real meat as the first ingredient. We leave out corn, wheat, and soy. And we own where our dry food is made. 100%. Can other brands say all that? For nutrition you can trust and your pet will enjoy. Does your food go beyond? Learn more at purinabeyond.com.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
And we're back with Radio Vision Network here this morning with Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar, and we're talking about corn. And corn is an important element in all of our lives. Cornmeal, of course, is a big corn pudding. There's also corn, white corn, which is ground, and that's used down south as almost like a breakfast cereal. And the corn that we're talking about today, we have already had it grow the entire season. And this is the end of the season here. It's the end of September here in New Jersey. And but we don't want to just save the corn for the animals to eat. We want to do a craft with it as well. So we always try to use and reuse, as we always say. This is part of our recycling aspect. We try to use everything, not just as corn on the cob that we had all summer, but as corn for this time of year. And what we're going to do is we're going to decorate with it. We're going to pull the stalks up like this. We'll wrap a string around it, and we'll hang it from our front door as a decoration. So that's another way of using the corn that is left. But then I'm going to show you a third way of using corn. And this is actually was used on the prairie by children, by Indian children as well. And it would be by taking the corn husks. And the corn husks are just the top of the corn, and we tear them off. And then we go out and feed the corn itself, the yellow part. We'll go feed that to the pigs in my farm here at Whitebriar. We'll feed that to the pigs. The cows will like it. The chickens will break off little pieces and give it to the chickens. But meanwhile, we're going to start and we're going to make a corn husk doll. And a corn husk doll is easy enough to make because all she needs is a head. And that's her head. I'm just folding over corn stalks. And then she needs some arms. Now you must realize this was a time period when there were no dolls to be bought at stores. Your mom had to make you a doll. And if you were on the prairie and you didn't have much to save to make a doll, you had the corn stalks. And it's just a matter of placing the head, see her head up here, see her arms, and this will be her skirt. And then just taking a piece of thread. Now the Indians, when they did this for their children, they didn't have thread. So they took sinew. Sinew happens to be the really, really tough part of the animal's leg when they were having deer for dinner or they were having another type of animal. And this is just wrapping around. I'm wrapping under her arms, all right? And then wrapping around her neck and crossing it across her chest with a piece of string, or as the Indians did, a piece of sinew, which is really, really strong. All right? We're fortunate that we have enough. Now you're going to have to use your imagination, but the Indian children didn't have fancy ceramic dolls like we have today. They only had what they could work with. So here is the basics of what a doll would look like. You could make it a boy like this one that has pants on as opposed to a dress. And then we're just going to take a little bit of fabric and any little scrap of fabric that you might have. In those days, you didn't throw your clothes away until they were totally worn out. And I mean totally worn out. So your little sister wore them after you did, and then the next little sister wore them, and by the time they got to the third sister, they really were worn out. Maybe it started as a red dress, but now it's a pale pink dress. So we have just a square of fabric, and all this is a square. And we fold it, see, it's a rectangle, and now it's a square. And all we're going to do is cut a little segment in here for her head. Now, maybe Mommy has to help you, excuse me, with that segment because the scissors are, just push the hole over her head. And there is her dress. Now, we want her to look like she has a stylish waistline, so we go back to our thread. And to keep her dress on, we just take some of this thread again. Again, if you were lucky enough to have a brightly colored ribbon, that would work, but we're just working with basic items here. Everybody has a piece of string or twine around the house. We're wrapping it around her waist to give her a waistline. Now, if we don't want her arms that long, we trim her arms. It doesn't hurt because she's just a make-believe doll. And we bring her arms in like this and bend them where we want them to be. And there we have a corn husk doll, just like the Indians made and the little girls on the prairies made. And if you have any corn at home that you can tear the husks off, you can make yourself a corn husk doll as well. Now, I'm told that corn husk dolls do not have a face. And when I researched to see why don't corn husk dolls have a face, it goes back to an old Indian legend that there was once a girl who made a corn husk doll. And she made it so very beautiful, she put a face on the corn husk doll. And she just admired that face and stared at it so much, and she became so vain about her own face, and she was always fixing her hair and always primping her cheeks and trying to make herself more beautiful. And so the chief of the Indian tribe decided that no longer would the dolls have faces, that they all would have beauty on the inside and not on the outside. And that way, that's the legend of the corn husk doll. So if you have a chance, make yourself one, and you can put the face on if you want. And we'll be back with Radio Vision Network, and this time we're bringing a goat in here. And if you hear some bang in the background, you know it's our goat waiting to be our next customer here on Radio Vision Network, Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar. Stay tuned.
Sub some sizzle. This is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facials, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at alicia@whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers.
And we're back with Radio Vision Network, Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar. I'm Carol Moore, and I have brought our baby goat, who is only 8 days old, to camp today. And so this is our baby Billy goat. And the Candace, who is our vet tech, who delivered the baby, named him Elliot, because her favorite movie and my favorite movie is E.T. And so she thought that the baby looked like an E.T., a Elliot on the movie E.T. And I said to Candace, well, Candace, you delivered him, so you get the right to name him. However, I think I'm going to call him Snowcap, because on the top of his head, he has a pile of white fur and these beautiful drippy ears. These are droopy ears. This is a particular type of goat. There are many different types of goats. This one has what's called the dropping ears. Most goats have ears that are up like this, but they're half the size. And he doesn't like me doing that part. But you can see his face is just adorable. And he's not far from his mom. His mom is only 5 minutes away from the studio. So she's home waiting for him. And oh boy, when I picked him up, she was calling to him and he was calling to her, and it was really quite noisy there on the farm. But this is Elliot or Snowcap, whichever one you like. So if you have an opinion as to what we should call this little goat, whether it be Snowcap or Elliot, why don't you send us your opinion at Radio Vision Network, and here you go, look into the camera with that little face, and we'll take a vote and see what name sticks with this cute little goat. Goats are used around the world. Their fur is not soft like a lamb. Their fur is actually kind of coarse. He doesn't like standing on my table here because it's slippery, and he has like little hooves like a horse, and that's making it a little unsteady for him. But he's pretty good in that he drove all the way over in the car. It was his first car ride, and he was sitting on my lap, and what he was trying to do was to look out the window and see all the cars going past, and I had the window shut so he didn't jump out, because even though he's only less than 2 weeks old, he is very, very fast. All the herd animals would have to be fast from the time they're born, because predators that would love to kill him and eat him would have an easy time if he laid around after he was born. So immediately he jumped up on his feet, and immediately he was able to walk. And it's just amazing how human being babies take 2 or 3 years to learn how to walk, and these goats get up the very first minute that they are born and start to walk. He is drinking his mother's milk now. That's all he has in his diet, although it looks like he would nibble on anything that we gave him. So he's looking here at a big piece of corn, and also he's looking at the husk of the corn, which might be interesting to him. And he's looking at an apple, and there is a sunflower seed there, a sunflower with its seeds. And so he might be interested in that. But this is what a baby goat looks like. They're very, very precious. Eventually he will be eating what his mother is eating, which is leaves and sweet feed on the farm and plenty of fresh water. But right now he's just content to drink his mommy's milk and be curious as to all the things he's seeing here today. So that is Radio Vision Network's Animal for today, from Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar here on Radio Vision Network. We hope that you've enjoyed our visit, and as he grows, we'll bring him back to the studio so you can see him again. So this is Carol Moore from Edgewater Park, where our farm is known as Whitebriar, a big white house that used to have briar patches around it, and that's where he lives. And his name is either Elliot or Snowcap. And if you'd like to vote which one you think he looks like an Elliot or does he look like Snowcap, feel free to send the studio a note here and just send it to Whitebriar, The Farm, Cooper Street, Edgewater Park, 08010 here in New Jersey, and we'll be happy to take your opinion as to what we should call this little guy. So that's it for Radio Vision Network. Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar. We'll see you next time.
Saving your business money is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Tanker Consulting Services, a payment solutions expert, will show you how with a free, detailed, written analysis illustrating your cost savings. We usually uncover savings between 10 and 25%, and sometimes more. We can help your business succeed by providing reliable and secure merchant payment solutions such as merchant services programs, point-of-sale systems, and ATM machines. TCS, one of the leaders in regional credit card processing consulting, offers electronic payments to merchants locally and nationwide through our preferred vendor programs. We work to keep business costs down with a comprehensive suite of quality products, services, and customized credit card processing programs exclusively tailored for your company. TCS is convenient, reliable, and innovative, with customer service available 24/7, 365 days a year. Our in-depth industry knowledge, partnership strategy, and innovative processing solutions allow for a specialized approach to providing merchant bank processing with 100% full fee disclosure. TCS is one-stop shopping for all your merchant services solutions. Our clients save money 100% of the time. Trust Tanker Consulting Services, the knowledgeable, professional, and friendly provider of secure payment services. We set the standard by which others are measured. Call now for a free written analysis. 609-922-0201.
Today's show is sponsored by Hargrove Demolition, your demolition experts. Hargrove is a family-owned and operated business right here in the southern New Jersey area, bringing you 45 years of demolition expertise. Hargrove has all your demolition needs, from emergency demolition service to demolition equipment rental. Hargrove is one of the state-approved recycling facilities right here in the southern New Jersey area. No job is too big or too small for Hargrove Demolition. Contact them today at one of their 3 locations.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way.